The next song is called Bound for Glory, which was not written on the acoustic guitar and in fact was written on an electric guitar in the back lounge of a bus while on the road. It too is down a half step. This half step down thing, which has been thematic throughout the record for the most part, was because of the vocal range. You know, it just was better for me to sing it in E flat than it was in E. So choices that you can make if you think about it. So tune down a half step. We'll play the song for you from beginning to end, and then I'll demonstrate each of the electric guitar parts for you. Say goodbye to your little underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. The card is off, take good care of yourself. We're bound for glory, but there's a price to pay. I bet you can't find him by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and wide. Like a smoker's cough reveals a bitter truth. Please don't kid yourself. Now's the time to start. The climb is high, but the air is clean. We're bound for glory. Just let the covers drop. I'll be celebrating by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and nowhere left to hide. Down by the riverside. I'll be celebrating by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and nowhere left to hide. Down by the riverside. So this song is basically a song about getting free from a relationship that is uncomfortable and being very happy about it, wishing the other person well. I'll just start playing it for you. It began with this little guitar riff, which I like double stops a lot, especially on the low strings. Say goodbye to your little underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. Collars off, take good care of yourself. We're bound for glory, but there's a price to pay. Not that you can't find me by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and wide. By the riverside. So say goodbye to your little underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. So again, I'm following the first opening, volley of the song. Say goodbye to your little underdog. Obviously someone who's been treated a little bit that way. No more run and catch things you throw my way. The collar's off. Take good care of yourself. Right? No hard feelings. Take good care of yourself. We're bound for glory, but there's a price to pay. So bound for glory is bound for freedom, of whatever kind that might be for an individual, but there's a price to pay. You have to let go of some things, right? So again, a good opening line. Say goodbye to your little underdog. That's pretty good. No more run and catch, things you throw my way. I just consider how a dog is treated. And find images in that, The collar's off. This is pretty, I love that. There, 3 in a row. Underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. The collar's off. Take good care of yourself. We're bound for glory, but there's a price to pay. And from there, not that you care, you'll find me by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and wide. So again, this is sort of like a jibe, at the person. Not that you care, you'll find me by the riverside. She's not going to come looking for him, but not that you care, you'll find me by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and wide. So I like that line too. Baptize the Maker. In other words, you're the one who creates everything anyway. You're the maker, And kind of cleaning yourself off, dusting yourself off from this experience and finding your own freedom, finding your own joy away from a relationship that's crushing you. So, say goodbye to your little underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. Collars off, take good care of yourself. We're bound for glory, but there's a price to pay. Not that you care, you'll find me by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and wide. Okay? There's a little interlude. Like a smoker's cough reveals a bitter truth. Please don't kid yourself. Now's the time to stop. Climb is high, but the air is clean. We're bound for glory. Just let the covers drop. I'll be celebrating by the riverside. Same idea. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and nowhere left to hide. So, like a smoker's cough reveals a bitter truth. Please don't kid yourself. Now's the time to stop. Climb is high, but the air is clean. There's some nice alliteration. Climb is high, but the air is clean. So each one of these, images is all related to smoking, which will kill you, right? So, like a smoker's cough reveals a bitter truth. You don't want to hear it. Please don't kid yourself. Now's the time to stop. The climb is high, but the air is clean. We're bound for glory. Just let the covers drop. Just get yourself unhung up. Get yourself free, And I'll be celebrating down by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and nowhere left to hide. So I expanded the form there a little bit. That is the extent of the lyric to this particular song. 2 verses and choruses. There's a guitar solo in the middle, and then it finishes out with that second chorus once again. I'll be celebrating by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and nowhere left to hide. I am very fond of double stops played on the low strings. And especially when you can resonate, drone another string against it. So this is the feel of the song, right? It's got a nice little march to it, which is, the guy's leaving. He's splitting. He's moving on. The whole thing has a bit of an Exodus, quality to it, right? It's kind of dramatic. It's, yeah, I guess dramatic is a pretty good word. Gets your attention. So the song begins sort of calmly. There's no straight up beat going on yet. So introduction. And then kicking into, not that you care, you'll find me by the riverside. Like for me, the way I'm playing rhythm, makes me think of Hendrix, that kind of, it's like, kind of Mitch Mitchell seemed to have a lot to do with some of those feels with Hendrix. But can you find by the riverside? And that riff is carrying the rhythm in there. So, yeah, it's got that march feel to it. That runs throughout the song. There are little pauses here and there, and slight instrumental interludes, but that's pretty much it. That tempo was set with, and again, I love playing strummy things on electric guitars, on the treble pickup. Purple House was done, I believe, just to be on the safe side, 90% of the electric rhythm guitar parts played by me were done on a Les Paul Jr. With the cutaway, double cutaway, and one pickup. in the treble position. And the solos were all done with an SG. So very different for me to make a record like that. But I just love the sound of that treble pickup on the Les Paul Jr. playing things like that. It's just got kind of a growl to it, you know, that I find exciting. So I think if you were to experiment with this is something that you know, a lot of guitar players avoid, is playing in here, you know, playing an E chord like that. When was the last time you did that? Fifth in the root, you know, and it kind of sticks out a little bit. Some folks, you know, they might think that's just too heavy, something down there in that low end, but that's precisely the point. It's too heavy. So, you know, it gets your attention. And from there, it's just balancing things, you know, making sure you don't play it too hard or too soft, things like that. There are ways to make these things work. And different use of triads. I'm writing a song right now. So as mentioned, the song opens with these double stops. I kind of broadened that phrase with those extra double stops. I think the third time it's played, so it's say goodbye to your little underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. You know, it's adding, right? You're adding to what you already had. Make it a little bit more interesting. Go the extra mile. Push into it a little bit further. Don't be happy with what you've got until you can't make it better anymore. So, collars off, take good care of yourself. Bound for glory, the price to pay right now. There's that F sharp minor 11 chord again. Sometimes I play it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll play that, or that more likely. A lot of it has to do with where you're headed next, you know, the way you grip the guitar. What you want it to sound like. Interesting, isn't it, that, you know, an F sharp minor chord, it can hit you at least 5 different ways that I can think of right now, you know? So, not that you care, you'll find me. Now this voicing, C sharp minor, could be played like that. But for some reason in this context, it just sounds a little thick to me. And so I opt for this voicing without the low fifth in it. But basically we're playing. This is what we're doing. But it sounds like this. You know, the chords aren't gratuitous. The chords aren't, oh, play an F sharp minor. Okay, here's an F sharp minor. It's that F sharp minor, because it feels and sounds like that. So this is something that I ask of myself always in my writing. All this stuff is tied together, you know. Chord, melody, lyric, all of it's tied together. again, there's that kind of middle register, but toward the low end thirds. Nice little melody, right? There's no chord being played here in the rhythm section because it would get in the way. Instead, I played that line and I played another line that goes the opposite direction, which we'll get into later on also when we cut the tracks for show you how I played my electric guitar parts. But the movement is in the, and the harmony is in the riff. You really hear the chord. You know, you don't need somebody to go. That just gets in the way of this very cool line. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear. This is a D major 7, add 9. 9, right? What did the advisor say? 9? Now, when we're playing this with the band, I have a tendency, that's the actual chord, but I have a tendency to just play that part of it. Bass player is playing that, so my harmony is coming through well enough. And this drops down to an A in the bass, and it kind of goes D major 7, A6. But it also could just be, one chord, and you're just going to the 5th of that chord. It's it could go either way, and it can kind of be heard in either way. I like that. Okay? Water is clear. No one. That's the first time, and then I have this. The guitar all by itself, nothing else playing, and it's electric guitar playing these notes. Okay, B minor 7 to C sharp minor 7. Now, do I want to go? No, I do not. That doesn't sound anywhere near as cool as, right? There needs to be that air around those notes so that you can hear them. If you're doing this, it's all covered up by this low stuff. Sometimes the low stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the high stuff works, sometimes it doesn't, right? So every chord is chosen, specifically for a particular reason. So the line I just played, I'm playing a major scale backwards and displaced. Dee-da, dee-da, right? And I'm skipping the D here because I don't care for it. Be-da, dee-da, da, 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 da. Be-da, dee-da, do, dee. That's it. So instead of, if I was playing the scale literally, I skip that because I don't like it. But the concept was to take dee da 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 da, right? See, this is a way, again, to take the most fundamental of harmonic devices, a major scale, and do something with it. So I'm displacing the notes and I'm playing the scale down. I'm displacing the notes. That's my first thought. And my plan was to keep going, you know. You know? There, I just played the scale, displacing the notes all the way down. But certain notes, I was like, that's not what I want to hear there. But I started with this concept of just walk down the major scale, displacing the notes. That's not a new invention. It's not overly creative. It's just a tool. It's a device, displacing notes in a major scale. So that little line. So that's basically the chord voicings and every element chordally in the song. This is hard work. Should try playing and singing this at the same time. I'm going to play for you what you'd hear if you were to catch us performing this song live with the band. There are a couple of secondary guitar parts that I'll show you a little bit later that are supportive of what I'm doing here. But this is the primary electric guitar part that I'll do for you right now. Say goodbye to your little underdog. No more run and catch things you throw my way. The collar's off, take good care of yourself. We're bound for glory, but there's a price to pay. I bet you can't find me by the riverside. Baptize the maker where the water is clear and wide. I'm going to play the secondary guitar part for you now, which doesn't come in until the first B section. And it's basically just single note lines, some double stops in there too, that are kind of going the opposite direction from the main line, which we already demonstrated, which is that part. This is going to be a slightly different part that's playing right along with it and a little underneath it. So here we go.
Like a smoker's cough reveals a bitter truth. Please don't kid yourself. Now's the time to stop. The climb is high, but the air is clean. We're bound for glory. Just let the covers drop. I'll be celebrating by the riverside. Baptize the Maker where the water is clear and nowhere left to hide. Down by the riverside.
Bound for Glory is perhaps my favorite song on the record because there are so many things happening in it that just come together really well for me. First of all, the main electric guitar part, it's played as kind of like an acoustic part because there's no fear of the fact that the guitar's distorted, and yet it's like featured right out there playing very tonally, wide open chords, but distorted. So it's sort of distorted and clean at the same time, which is something I've grown to love to use in electric guitar. My whole style used to be very clean and still is to large part. But particularly in making records, it's nice to take advantage of all the possibilities, of the guitar. My live performances will be a little less like that, but it's a blast, to get into the studio and to be able to, really dial these things in. So that I love, and I also like the kind of counterpoint guitar parts that are on there. The main guitar part that's playing that line, da-do-do-boo-da-boo-doo, that one. Then I have this other guitar playing kind of opposite of it, but at the same time. So to me, I refer to that as sort of orchestration, arranging. It's thoughtful, Like everything is actually thoughtful, and yet it's also funky, rock, and completes. Everything just kind of weaves together. So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did.